Hello and welcome back to Unhooking the Mind. The audio is totally off on this because, like a noddy, I hadn't even turned the mic on. So I was sitting here trying to explain about how windy it was and how I'd promised you something different and you were going to get something different. Even though the wind was blowing in from my back, I was going to attempt a little go on the fly for pike. I thought with a decent fly we could still achieve some distance, as the pike in this little mill pool, they do sit quite close in as it's really deep from that marginal shelf. It drops down to 10 foot in less than 2 rod lengths. I came out here today to clear my head because apparently when your brain feels like a tangled mess, the solution is fishing. That makes sense, right? Fishing has always been one of those things that people say is peaceful, quiet, calm, reflective. So I wanted to do a little piece to the camera which I've not done before, describing the tackle that I used. It was going quite well. I'd had one or two mistakes, so as you can see I'm just sat rethinking what to say and starting again. And that wind was blowing right around me and I'm thinking But the thing about fishing, when people say it's peaceful, it's funny because like you can see the wind is trying to steal my hat, unhooking that, my dignity and possibly my will to live. But that is kind of the point. Like when my mental health isn't great, my brain gets loud and anxiety narrates everything I do, and then you get the voices in the head of why even bother. But I suppose here at least the wind is louder than my thoughts, and that does help. So there we go. So I've readjusted the camera and I thought, well, I'll wet the fly off. So, take 2. We wet the fly, and even though the wind is blowing in like a hoolie, I just want to do a short cast of how the bait runner reel works. It's easy for me to say. So flick 1. That went okay, wind blew it way back. But it was in shot. You can sort of see how the fly lure works, swims. A little bit of action through the rod, and that'll be delicious. Take 2. Oh, take 2 and 3. So I'm stood there trying to do something simple, and then suddenly I'm overthinking it, frustrated, and I'm wondering how it got so bad so fast. Fishing doesn't judge you, it's one of them. I'm just saying to myself there, yeah, it happens. And one thing I've learned, especially from doing a couple of videos, is and from fishing and dealing with mental health, is that forcing it, especially all at the same time, forcing it never works. You can't force the fish to bite, you can't force you can't force yourself to feel okay, and yet we try constantly. So just be positive. And if just being positive, just calm down, just enjoy it. If that worked, I would be mentally invincible by now. Sometimes the best you can do is show up, try your best, and just try and get through it. Even if you're uncomfortable, or being attacked by the wind, or just getting frustrated. And there is a wind knot, which I'm trying to sort before the lure drops down too deep in the water. So that's a bit of a better cast. It's really deep water out in front there. So we're looking at 8-9 foot. And I've put some movement through the action of the rod, and the lure looked good. And that was the final nail in the coffin right there. That huge bird's nest wind knot. I had to pull a lot of line off to sort it, and I've not used this reel in a while, so the line was pretty coiled up. And then by the time I'd recovered the line, the lure had found the snag, and that was game over. After nearly getting blown in the lake a couple of times, I thought I'd go for a change. I had a piece of mackerel, well, a couple of pieces of mackerel in the car, and I thought, let's not be lazy, let's change our look. So half a mackerel went on, out it went. One roll of the dice, and I thought, that canal I usually go to is quite sheltered in the trees. I wonder what it'd be like there today. So that was it. I packed everything up, chucked everything in the car, then realised the microphone were off, and hurried on over to the canal. And that's where I'll leave you, and I'll see you there. So, as you can see, I had a disastrous start to the day, but that's fishing. It's a change of location now. We're going to go on the canal with a little stick float and a piece of mackerel. Let's see how we get on. Generally, before I make my first cast, make sure I've got all my tools to hand. Have a sling, a mat, and a net. That's always set up before I start. You never know, you might drop your bait right on the nose and you'd need it and you're not set up. This way, if we are lucky enough to catch first cast, we're ready. Just in front of us, about 2/3 of the way across, is a huge floating weed bed. I generally do quite well fishing for perch amongst them or around the edges of them. So there's a bit of a break in the weed. I've dropped a piece of mackerel just into that little gap. Semi-cocked pencil float. Fingers crossed you actually get one. Well, we've had one last move about a quarter of a mile down the canal, I've not seen any bait fish. I'm done. That's the end for me for today. We can learn from our mistakes, double check the weather, check the venue, little things like that. Maybe bring more than one choice of dead bait. But I'll keep making mistakes so you don't have to. And thank you ever so much for joining me, and especially staying till the end. I'll see you again on Hooking and Line soon. Goodbye.